Self-advocacy means taking the initiative to communicate your needs and wants to others in order to support your overall well-being.
While people know to apply it to their personal life, you must also consider applying it in your work life. And joining us to share the importance of this and some tips on embracing self-advocacy in the workplace is career coach Linda Taliaferro. Thank you so much for joining us, Linda.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here.
Right and early on this Wednesday, July 3rd.
Yes.
Thanks so much for being
Such
here.
a pleasure.
So break down what self-advocacy is and what it looks like.
It's the ability to let others know, especially those that are in decision-making positions, what your desires are in your career. And it looks like actually that, just being vocal and making sure that you're clear in doing so you can meet those career goals.
Yeah, so that is something easier said than done. A lot of time employees have a hard time approaching management and expressing their needs for fear of repercussions, let's say. So what do you need to have in order before you make that step and approach your boss or upper management?
One of the critical things you need to have is self-confidence. I mean, it's extremely important to be very comfortable in who you are and know your worth and value that you bring into the workplace. And I would say I'd like to kind of tilt this conversation to the ladies a little bit.
Sure.
Because we have a tendency to want to be perfect and to check every box before we raise our hand and say, hey, I would like that next role or to lead that major initiative. Guys tend to not. They tend to just say, hey, I can do that. I'm ready now. So, but women, we've got to get comfortable in understanding our worth and value, and perfectionism is not our friend. Not our friend at all.
And it's something you were touching on there. I feel like we live in such a people-pleasing culture.
So true.
And, so what are some challenges people face in this type of environment, wanting to make everyone happy all the time?
And that, I mean, I'm glad you bring that up, Meredith, because that is huge, especially nowadays with everything we see on social media and the comparisons we make of ourselves. And so I think what's really important is to have that dialogue with your manager. I think we talked about that last time I was here, is to really understand where they see you, and you have the confidence and the ability to express where you see yourself. And if there's any opportunities or gaps in between, that you work together for a development plan to bridge those gaps. But the pleasing part of it, I think, starts naturally with yourself. You really have to be comfortable with yourself when you look in the mirror and know that you, as I said earlier, bring value into your role into the workplace. Self-confidence is it's foundational to everything.
Yeah, now, approaching somebody, you obviously need to have a connection. A lot of people don't have these connections with, their superiors. How do you kind of form that connection before you go into this self-advocacy? Because it's going to be easier if you have that connection.
Oh, it is, absolutely. And it's building relationships. I say all the time to my clients, relationships are everything. And you can start it extremely small. I mean, it could be based on something you find in common. I know when I started building my relationships with my leader, I would notice in his or her office, I don't know if they had a football, I'm a sports advocate, right? So if I see something that I can connect with, then we'll have a conversation around that. Or if it's a Monday morning after the weekend, it's simple as saying, hey, how was your weekend? What did you do? And just find commonalities of which you can build that foundation first, allow the person to get comfortable with you, get to know you a little bit, and then you build upon there. So I think it's something that it can be scary, especially if you're not quite the extrovert or the open communicator, but it can be extremely transformational and beneficial. And your leader, your manager would really appreciate getting to know you above and beyond the tasks that you do on a regular basis.
Yeah, hopefully.
And aside from, and aside from pitching your hat in, for that new role or that promotion, just generally speaking about money, this is an uncomfortable topic, and studies have shown that women, as you said, are also very uncomfortable bringing this up. So what are some tips with people who aren't happy with where they're at with their salary? What can you do to go to your manager?
Initially, do your research, okay? So make sure that you understand, I mean, we're not happy with the salary, but we want to make sure that our requests, if we make them, are reasonable. So do your research. There's a lot of data out there to tell you, depending on what your title is or what your bracket is, are you within that realm, that sphere? Is it reasonable? If you find that there's some opportunity, then what you want to do is meet with your leader and go over all the successes you've had in that past year. Here's some things that women aren't comfortable doing, is talking about how good we are, right? And because we kind of say, oh, that's bragging, or that, it's not. It's speaking facts, right? It's providing that data to your leader, so when he or she assesses that raise or that merit increase, they have some data and facts to build upon. So start with your research, make sure that you have information that you can walk into that discussion, and then most importantly, be specific and clear. I've had people come to me and say, you know, Linda, I've done this over the past year. I've even gone above and beyond and took on an extra assignment. I think I'm worth, my value is an additional 5% in the merit. I know most people are getting 3, but I believe I deserve 5, and here's why, right? And I think if you can be very specific, supported by facts, you'd be surprised how positive that conversation goes.
Self-advocacy is so important.
It is.
Linda, thanks a lot for opening your eyes to a lot of this.
Oh, it's been a pleasure, Chris. Thank you.
And our bosses will hunt you down when we all ask for 5% increases this year. All right? We appreciate that. Now we know how, at least, right?
Yes, thank you.
All right.